Good morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are and when you are watching this and what part of the world you're watching this in. My name is Vaughn Howard, and I am the assistant pastor here at Apostolic House of Worship. I wanted to take a few moments this morning and just take you through how we live stream our services. The reason I want to do this is because when this video was recorded in March of 2020, we were all restricted in some manner, form, or fashion of assembling because of the ongoing coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to refer to it. In the world, and especially in the United States of America. But I wanted to show you how we do live streaming, and it can help you out. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to do a good live stream. A lot of churches like this one are a little bit smaller, maybe 50 to 75 people, and they don't have the funds to spend, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 to buy the Blackmagic equipment or the new tech TriCaster equipment. A couple of years ago in my media work, I found a solution that I think works real well, and that is the SlingStudio. The SlingStudio, the base unit that you see right here, comes, and I will give you a complete price breakdown at the end of this video, but it's right around $995, I think. That's for the base unit. With this unit, you get your a bunch of inputs. You get your USB-C port, and I'll show you what that's for in just a moment. You got an HDMI in, you've got an HDMI out, but you get a line in where you can run a 3.5 millimeter, 1/8 inch, however you want to call it, refer to it, from a feed from your audio board into this thing, and I'll show you how that works in a minute here. You also have a power connection. On the front of the unit, your power switch, and you also have an SD card slot where you can put an SD card in and record your services right to it. Now, the cool thing about the Sling is you can stream to any number of platforms. YouTube, stream to Facebook, and you can also stream to a custom SMTP, RMTP, however you want to refer to it. You can put in a custom address and you can stream to a custom site. So if you stream on your website itself, you can do that real easily with the SlingStudio. The reason I like Sling is it gives you the benefits of a Blackmagic switcher that costs thousands more in a small package like this. You can also get an external battery, which allows you to power the Sling and make it very useful in a remote situation. We use one of these slings. This is my personal one, and we use it here at the church. So the SlingStudio is a great piece of equipment, and like I said, it by itself will run you, I think, $995, and I'll give you a cost breakdown at the end of this video. Now, here's the thing about the Sling, and I'm going to turn you around. Well, actually, no, I can't while this is going. So let me just bring you over here. The SlingStudio comes with, or you can buy, let me get over here. You can buy these camera links that you see right there. This is the camera link. It turns any camera that has an HDMI out port, for example, this Canon cheap Vixia HFR50 or HFM50, whatever it is, HFM50. It has an HDMI out. So this camera link from SlingStudio turns this camera into a remote camera, and it'll feed a signal wirelessly back to our sound booth, and I'll turn you around here so you can see it. Back to our sound booth right back there, right there, and where we normally have the Sling unit set, it will feed a signal back there. The listed range on these camera links is 300 feet line of sight. I've had it close to 300 feet, and it never dropped a frame. It never dropped a signal, anything. It gave me full connectivity the whole time. I've also had it go through walls at a range of probably 150 feet, 150 feet, and it still worked. I wouldn't recommend it, though. It's strictly designed for line of sight. So if you have an open sanctuary like this, you can run a camera up front on your praise singers, on your musicians, whatever. I almost said munitions, flashing back to my Air Force days. On your musicians up here, and get a signal back there to your sound booth. On your preacher, and also get a signal back there to your sound booth. So it's a very unique piece of equipment. Now, how do you switch these cameras? Or how do you get the feed? Well, there's an app, and I'll throw up some screenshots here in a minute. There's an app that you can run either on an iMac, a MacBook Pro, or on an iPad. You can run this on an iPad. You can switch remotely from your iPad. You can put up your graphics, you can insert your video clips, whatever, all right from the SlingStudio app. It's actually a very cool piece of equipment. And once I found it and started using it, I won't go back to doing anything else in an environment like this. But the other cool thing, let me go back to what I was going to tell you here. The other cool thing is, say I can only afford one camera link. Well, if you have an iPhone or an iPod with a camera on it, or an iPad, an extra iPad with a camera on it, you can take it and download the Capture app, SlingStudio Capture app, and it turns this phone, any iPhone, this is an old iPhone 8 that my daughter upgraded hers, and I took this one since I paid for the upgrade. I took the old phone and used it in my studio production. You can turn it into a camera source without needing a camera link. You can download the Capture app, fire up the Capture app, connect to the SlingStudio, and I'll walk you through all that here in just a minute. But you can connect all that up, and you, bingo, have another camera source without having to buy a camera link. So it's really, really a cool piece of equipment. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. When you buy the Sling, it also comes with this dongle. And this dongle plugs into the USB-C port that I showed you before. And it allows you to, if you have a hardwired network, you can put a LAN cable right in there, and you can LAN right into your network. That is real good for streaming. I'm telling you, if you can get it hardwired, I would recommend that as opposed to wireless. Outstanding way to do it. But it also has 2 USB-C ports, so you can hook up a powered USB drive and capture to that directly if you choose to do so. So, just some unique pieces. All right, let me take a break here, and we'll come back, and I'll show you a little bit on the app, how to use the app, how to connect some of the stuff, and we'll be back after. So, as I was mentioning in that first segment, you can turn any iOS device, be it an iPhone or an iPad or an iPod, into a camera source on this. And the first thing you do to do that is you go to your settings, you make sure your Wi-Fi, sorry, I'm trying to do this by view. You want to make sure your Wi-Fi is your SlingStudio hotspot. So you click that, it's connected. You go back to your screen and you download the SlingStudio Capture app that I mentioned. You click on it, and bam, now you're feeding camera feed back to your SlingStudio that you can see set up right there by the iMac. You're shooting video right back to it without the need of a camera link like you do use on a camera with an HDMI output. You simply can just send an iPhone, use your iPhone as a camera and send the video feed back to the SlingStudio and to the console app. So it's just that easy to set up. And you can have, as I said before, you can have up to 10 video sources, camera inputs and video files, although you can only have 4 active at one time. So let me go ahead and close this segment, and we'll go and learn how to do the console and how to bring your camera signals in at the console app. Okay, to start SlingStudio, once you've got everything fired up and you connected up your cameras like I showed you in the previous video, you click on your icon, SlingStudio console. Now I'm doing this on a iMac, but the process is somewhat similar on an iPad or a MacBook Pro. Click on SlingStudio console. You can skip through setup tips or watch them if you want to. It's up to you. The first thing you want to do is click on Open Project or New Project. I'm just going to type in test. Now I can't save this project because I don't have a hard drive connected or an SD card, but once you have it connected, you'll be able to save it. So I'll call it test. I would normally put recording and broadcasting, but since I don't have a card or memory or a hard drive installed, I can't do that. So basically it's broadcasting only. I typically go Pro 30. I typically go Pro 30 And the video sources, now all of your video sources record independently. When you have it selected, recording and broadcasting, it will record all of your I normally record all of my video sources. When you have recording and broadcasting selected, when you have a memory card or a hard drive connected, I normally record all 4 of them in case, or however many I have, in case I have to go back and do some editing. But for now, it just sets on broadcasting only. I select Pro 30, 1080p 30. I take my video sources all the way to 16, my program output all the way to 16. Now, here's the kicker. When you go to broadcasting destination, and I'll go ahead and select our Facebook page here at the church. Make sure I get Apostolic House of Worship. Publish now. You then will enter your title. In this case, it's just test. I normally put Apostolic House of Worship and the date of the service. So, but for now, I'm just going to put test. Set destination. You'll see that this gets cut down. Your program output bitrate gets cut down to 8 megabits per second, and that's okay. It's still a good quality stream, and if you want to go back and edit it and put out a high quality 16 meg stream, you can do that, or 16 meg bitrate video, you can do that as well, because it will record everything in 16, but the output is only 8, which is is really good for Facebook, or if you want to put it online somewhere. So you got your broadcasting destination set, then your upload speed. And right now you can see mine's going up. It was real low, but now it's going up. I would highly recommend that wherever you run this from, that you try to hardwire your Sling. It will do it wirelessly, but it's real difficult to keep a good stream going. So even though we got a fairly decent stream, or fairly decent bitrate right now, I would highly recommend, if you can, to hardwire your Sling in via the dongle I showed you earlier. So we got all that ready. We're going to go ahead and create the file. Okay? It'll ask you, what are you doing? You don't have to answer, but I normally just say House of Worship or sports if I'm doing sports. And then here on the iMac, I'll go ahead and get this a little bit bigger. So you see down here we have all 3 of our camera inputs, right? We have our one that's going to be on our translator. We have our main pulpit cam. And then we have our praise singer cam, which I'm going to reposition before service. Now you notice this is, if you've worked with any producing software, you have your preview and your program. This is what's coming up. This is what's live. You see there's nothing live. All you do is hit preview to program, bam. And I'm kind of going fast through this. I can do a more in-depth tutorial later. I just want to show you how good Sling is at producing it. Now, you also have an audio mixer. And these are all of your sources coming in. I don't have a line in yet, which I will show you later, but you can also put a line in from your soundboard, and that will pop up as well. Now, this is your program. This is just a rudimentary mixture. You get all audio from all cameras. You can mute them all. Bam, like that. And that's what I normally do, and just bring my line in from the soundboard. But you can do that. If you want to monitor your sound, you just click on that, put a pair of headphones into your iMac, your iPad, or your MacBook Pro, and bam, you can listen to your audio. So that's your audio mixer. You can bring in graphics, custom graphics right here, add graphics if you have a sermon title, slide, or whatever. You can bring in video files as well. Now, one thing about video sources that I didn't say earlier, you can have 4 active video sources and up to 10 waiting. So if you want to add a video source, you just click on this, and here's your 3 that are active. You can bring in a video clip. Let me bring in, well, shoot, I don't think I have one on here that I can bring in. Well, let's get one from, let's use this one from youth camp last year. Okay, so I have that one. So it's complete importing. See, and this is what I'm talking about when you're on wireless. Your connectivity goes up and down. We just now got a warning that we have a poor quality because I'm on wireless right now. I don't have it hardwired. So again, perfect example of how you want to get it hardwired. Okay, So it didn't bring it in because it popped it up before I could get to it. So let me add a video. There it is. Excuse me. It did. Here it is. So once you get it imported, you click on your add button, and there it is. So if you want to queue it up ready to go, you just drag it over here to the preview window. You see how it's there? And then you can preview it. Click it playing. Okay, yeah, that's what I want. So, okay, I'm in a break or I want to run this prior to my service. What do? You simply click on preview to program, and there you have it. And then when it's done playing, you can, or any time in the middle of it, you can simply go back to your live feed. And then you can just simply get another one ready. So, I know this is kind of abrupt and not real in-depth, and I'm willing to show you more in-depth or point you in the direction of some already made tutorials that are more in-depth. But that's what we do for our live stream here at Apostolic House of Worship. We use the SlingStudio. I produced them both from the iMac, which I'm showing you here, and the iPad. I find the iMac's easier because it's bigger and I can see better, and my old eyes are, I'm an old decrepit guy, so my eyes don't focus real well on smaller things. But the iPad lets you be mobile and wander around and switch stuff. Not necessarily conducive in a church environment, but in a remote production environment like we're doing right now with this COVID scare, it's really helpful. I can walk around the sanctuary and look from the different camera angles and make sure they look okay without ever disturbing the worship because it's mainly remote. So there you have it. That's the SlingStudio console. Like I said, I'll get you a price listing here and put it at the end of this video so you can know how much you are going to spend. But let me tell you that this is probably the best, other than just sticking a phone up on your sound booth wall and recording it or live in it straight to Facebook Live. This is probably one of the most cost-effective measures that you can find to live stream your service. I will tell you a couple of drawbacks, a couple of caveats. Number one, you already saw, if you're trying to do it wirelessly, it tends to drop your connectivity at times if you get really congested network. The other thing is, you can only have 4 sources active. You can have up to 10 sources queued up. That's both cameras and video clips, but you can only have 4 active at one time. So that gets kind of annoying trying to add more sources and stuff like that. But yeah, and the other one, the big one probably, is that you can only stream to one location at a time. You can stream to Facebook or YouTube or a custom RMTP, SMTP address, but you can't do it to simultaneous ones. Now, there's a way around that. You can go and subscribe to a program called Restream, which will let you send one feed to it, and then you can dictate to Restream where to send it out to. And I don't know how many total streams because I don't use it a lot or at all, but you can send it out to YouTube and Facebook at the same time, if I'm not mistaken, or your church website and Facebook at the same time, etc. So that's a couple of the drawbacks. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I'll walk you through it, or I'll get you some tutorial videos that have been done much better than this one. But that's how we do it on a budget here at Apostolic House of Worship. God bless, take care, and thank you so much for watching.